Hi, everybody. Good evening, and welcome back to live stream. It's been a little while, and here we are melting down, or at least I'm melting down anyway. Not sure about you folks, but it's been a little while. So thank you for being back with me here on the live stream. On the live stream, as you know, folks, we were exiled from YouTube for a little while, but who cares? We're broadcasting on other channels as well. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Jeff, Cal, Ultron, John, gosh, Joe Cool. Don't want to miss anyone out. Aldous Huxley. So many. Well, you know what I'm going to talk about? I'm going to cut to this one pretty quickly, actually. But just to say, I do hope you folks are, as well as YouTube, we're trying to get content out on lots of other channels. So you know that here they are. You can watch this live actually on brand new YouTube. You can watch it live over on Odyssey, and of course you can watch a recording over in BitChute. You can listen to it on Podbean. We are everywhere, folks. We're not going to be dictated to by Silicon Valley tyranny. We're not going to be putting up with that. And the links are all down below. So I hope you will go to those links. And just make sure you're subscribed. Hit the thumbs up. Get the hello, Donny girl, aloha, all the way from Australia. Hello, Francis, my beloved cousin. We've got a whole clan on the stream tonight. Angela, gosh, so many. City Troll all the way from the USA. Thank you very much for being with me. Don't forget, if you want to help me, don't want to forget this one. You can go along to altnewsmedia.net, hit the donate button. That keeps everything going. The other things I want you to do is, by the way, in addition to all these other channels you can get me on, and in all the links below, don't forget I do have a Telegram channel. I'm on GETTR, GETTR. I'm on GETTR, so I'm building an audience over there as well. GETTR's like a non-censorious version of Twitter. So GETTR, GETTR, usual stuff, usual name, all that. It's always me. And finally, last of all, I am launching a stream, a podcast with my American friend, another American friend, Alana Mercer. We're doing a podcast together. John asks, is Rebecca with me? Not unless she's hiding under the pedestal here. I think Rebecca is traveling tonight or whatever, so she will be back. And a warm welcome to the For Britain movement, Matthew, John. Gosh, so many of you folks here. Okay, that's enough of the preamble. So I've got to be honest with you, I'm furious. I'm really furious because today was billed as Freedom Day. You all know that. You were told Boris the Benevolent is giving us our freedoms back. Remember? And of course, I've been saying, no, he's not. He's absolutely not going to give you your freedoms back. Anything that he gives, he's going to take away again and all of that. So we had that. But I got to say with you folks, there's a couple of things he said today which just shocked me to the core. And I'm going to see if I get our producer, Jed, who's going to come on. I want Jed to be on the stream with me, by the way. But Jed, can you just put up this quote, please? So breaking news, folks. Boris Johnson says, quote, some of life's most important pleasures and opportunities are likely to be increasingly dependent on vaccination. How dare you, Boris Johnson? How absolutely dare you? Who are you to tell us that our lives and the pleasures that we get from them and those things we can achieve and our opportunities are going to be dependent on taking something which some of us may not want to take? Now, because I'm on YouTube, I'm very limited in what I can say, and I'm not going to say much about the V word, but how dare he say this to us? So that is, I'm reading your comments, by the way, if you wonder what I'm doing. Yes, Nick. We'll just put a couple of these other things up, folks, to get us all riled up, really, I suppose. And then, Jed, I want you to come on the stream. Just put up this. I mean, got any COVID? You will need vaccine passport to party at nightclub from end of September. Oh, well, that's not quite right. I think this is from the Sun, and the Sun, of course, is an enabler of the Johnson tyranny. This is not correct. What he said was you're going to need to be double vaccinated and therefore have your vaccine passport to go to like nightclubs or large events. Those large events would include, for example, sporting events. They would include concerts. I know my cousin Francis likes to go to concerts. I like to go to concerts. Now they're saying that I'm going to have the you know what before I can go to enjoy these things. Tyranny. This is absolute tyranny. Yeah, Cal, listen, nothing would surprise me now, because the whole tone of this is driving us towards a kind of a gulag for, well, people like me and maybe many of you who, for different reasons, have decided at this point we don't want to. We're not going down the route that the Prime Minister suggests as regards our health. And yeah, I mean, look, here's a good comment from Dave Barrow. It's another nudge, Dave. This is undoubtedly coming from the behavioral psychology junta, which Boris essentially feeds off. And yeah, great. By the way, you're so kind. So many comments. I can't cope with all the comments. Miss L, Matthew, Fen Wolf. Fen, they don't have. I don't know if they've got live chat over there. So anyway, you're welcome from wherever you come here. But how dare they say that these are the things that we have to endure? No way, Boris Johnson. I tell you, I saw it again just before we get. I'm bringing Jed on in a second. And yes, Ed, by the way, from the For Britain movement, it's great to see you on the stream. Hi, Dottie from North Wales. My goodness, so many people. Thank you. Gonna play a little video clip if we can. This is the thing that cheered me up the most today. So if we can just play this. This was recorded, folks, just outside Downing Street. And you know that there was a demonstration of lots of, in my opinion, patriotic citizens. Hey, Billy Piper's teeth. He said exactly what I said. And Billy Piper's teeth, you got me into trouble with YouTube previously, by the way, when you engaged with me. So just be careful if you're ground with me, right? Now, back to the video I wanted to play, if we can play it. Maybe we can't, I'm not sure. That looks like it's coming up. Yep, good, play.
Arrest Boris Johnson! 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 Arrest Boris Johnson!
Look at the size of that crowd. That's amazing. That is fantastic. And I absolutely agree with what they're saying. Absolutely. Arrest Boris Johnson. Oh, by the way, if you want to give me a super chat or a super sticker, they're available as well. That's one way you can help actively contribute to the channels, the multiple channels we're on. But anyway, so I was pleased to see the crowds. I'm discussing. I see we have one person on the stream disputing what Boris Johnson said. And listen, Billy Piper's teeth, I don't care what you think on this occasion. I'm telling you what I think. If you don't like what I think, you don't have to be here. I may be wrong, of course, but I think I'm damned right. In fact, I think, along with many other people, I've been right all the way through this. This has never been about the, if you like, the virus. This has all been about control. This government is morphing into a tyranny in front of us. You've got to be able to see this. It's a tyrannical government you have. And so, you know, I just want to say that. Jed, can I bring you onto the stream? Let's bring our ever tolerant and producer onto the stream. Jed, what's your take on what I've been talking about and what you've picked up these past few hours?
David, from the very outset, March 2020, first lockdown, and in fact, no, I'll correct that. About May 2020, people started talking about COVID passports, and people kept going, no, 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 it'll never happen, it'll never happen. It was guaranteed to happen. Why? Because we are not control. Boris Johnson is not in control. The health secretary, this government, is not in control. I tell you who's in control: Sage. The lunatics at Sage, they're the ones in control here. Nobody else. Absolute lunatics.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. No,
sorry.
yeah.
Did I say that strong enough, David? Because I'm just as livid as you are. But I'd like to use more colourful language than you would, but it's your channel.
Well, also on the YouTubes, I think we have to be a bit careful. But no, listen, absolutely, Jet. I mean, the thing is that Sage are a real and present menace and a danger. But I have to say, whilst you're saying he's not in control, and you're probably right in that, Jet. But this whole government, it's like a dark rising force. You know, it really is. This is just more than Boris Johnson's a bit annoying. This is more like Boris Johnson and those around him, Jed, are absolutely driving some of us into something that will be essentially a gulag. That's what's happening. UK 2021. Jed, I saw that apparently Boris Johnson became Prime Minister on the 24th of July 2019. And in less than 2 years, so it's only less than 2 years ago, in that time, look at what's happened. You know, lockdown, education ruined, health ruined, economy ruined, you know, travel being absolutely decimated by this guy. It's incredible if you think about what he's done. So I'm incredible. So whilst I agree with you about Sage, I think Johnson is an absolute menace. Those around him are. I think it's all planned, Jed, as well. I think this was all specifically set up for today. So on Freedom Day, we get the biggest blow we've had since lockdown in March 2020.
You could be right, David. You could be right. But you see, I think that there's multiple agendas here, to be honest with you, because there's one beneficiary of all of this, really, to a greater extent, and that is also the climate nutbars, the climate, you know, absolute lunatics, because they're benefiting from this. Because every single element of this has been about control, what you can do and what you can't do. You can't go out. You've got to stay in. If you do go to work, it's only the essential people that go to work. Oh, well, you can fly. Oh, but actually, we're not going to put any countries on the green list. And then when we put them on the green list, we'll put them back to the amber list or the red list. So when you're out there, you'll get caught and you come back and you can fork out a fortune to be quarantined in your own country when you haven't got anything wrong with you. When you can prove you haven't got anything wrong with you, you still have to pay £1,700 for the privilege of being locked away by this government. Even prisoners, even people we lock up for murder get paid to be locked up. We're now paying to lock ourselves away. Utter madness.
Yeah, no, we are descending into madness. And you know, on Freedom Day, we've got Boris Johnson in self-isolation. We've got Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, in self-isolation. We've got Sajid Javad also in self-isolation. They're taking the proverbial. I mean, folks, Jed, I think they're laughing at us. I think they know exactly what they're doing. I think this is driven by a lot of the Sage insights. I agree, but I think it's dark. I think Sage is dark. It's not about. I really just don't, because a lot of Sage is behavioral stuff, Jed. You know, it's not necessarily.
That is the point, though, David. It's behavioral science. Why do you need behavioral science for a virus?
Yeah,
you only need it because you control people with behavioral science. That's why you need it.
Absolutely right. Yeah, and when these behavioral scientists came out of, you know, like cockroaches emerged from the panic of March 2020, I didn't realize that they would very rapidly assume, as you rightly said, Jed, control of our country. And a lot of people are saying that you know, that they're communists. Well, certainly one of them most definitely is, Jezza. And I see, Michelle, you're talking about.
It's irrelevant that the communists, David, they are socialists. And so socialism and communism our bedfellows.
Well, I always think socialism is a stop off on the way to communism, and communism is essentially the stop off point in the way to mass genocide. So I'm pretty clear. And actually, the thing about it is the way this country is going. I'm so scared for young people. Angela McCavanagh, a long-term friend of mine from my Twitter years, makes a very good point as well, that we're being bombarded, Jed, by look at the number of cases, case-demic. We're never talked about. Let's talk about the deaths. Let's talk. The reason, Angela, for that, and I'm sure you'd agree, Jed, is because just like summer 2020, deaths have fallen away to a very, very modest level, an indiscernible level, statistically speaking. I think we are now below the 5-year average. So they don't want to talk about deaths, Jed. They want to talk about cases, and that's why today, when you're giving your freedom back, Jed, that's why today they're saying to you, well, yeah, but look at the headline today, Daily Mail headline, I think it was. It's Freedom Day, but cases keep rising. That, Jed,
this is it. It's all about language, David.
Yeah.
They've changed the language from day one. It was positive tests within 28 days, positive tests. It was hospitalizations, it was deaths. And they kept going on there, and they kept going, oh, look, there's tens of thousands in hospital. There's tens of thousands dying. We've got to stop this. And we did stop it. It stopped. So what they did was, we can't talk about people going into hospital because there isn't really that many. We can't talk about deaths because there's even less of them. I know. If we change the language from positive tests, which don't mean anything anyway, to cases, people will think the cases are rising and rising, and the thing is getting worse, when actually we are testing more in this country for 67 million people than the Americans are testing for 330 million people.
Jed, that's a great point, and I hope our American listeners and viewers will have just sort of reflected on that point you've made, that the UK is testing with a population of arguably 67, 70 million, apart from the illegals, obviously. We're testing twice, I think almost 2.5 times as much as the US. We're testing, Jed, more than the entire European Union together. What we have, hi Jane, by the way.
Because that's the plan. Because
absolutely.
With cases.
Yep, that's right. It is literally a case-demic, and that case-demic is being manipulated across the summer deliberately to keep the fear going. And by the way, I mean, Gene, I agree with you. Why would healthy people? Gene makes the point, Jed, perfectly for point. Stop getting tested. Why would you want to be tested if you're feeling well? Like, let me give you an example. Jed knows about this. I was unwell last week. That's why there wasn't any podcast for a day or so. And all I had was, I guess what you would say, a summer cold. I felt under the weather. And so what did I do? I didn't go and get a COVID test. I just stayed at home, rested up. Within a day or so, day and a half, I was just back to my normal fiery self. So, Jed, it's common sense, isn't it? That the government can't get the actual fear that it wants, because people aren't falling over in the streets like they did in Wuhan. Of course, we know that was all false. Now, so they just use cases, and they can, because they're testing so many, Jed, every day.
But that's it, David. But what we've also got to remind ourselves is lateral flow test done at home is, and I'll get this figure probably wrong, but I'll be pretty close, is 98% inaccurate. 98% of the time people take those tests, it will give you a false result. Now, if a professional did it, it's 60%. So more than half of those tests are inaccurate. But why does the government want you to have them? One, they spent billions of our taxpayers' money on them, and they don't want to throw them in the bin. Two, they can use that to manipulate us with cases and keep us locked away, and keep us in isolation, and keep us quarantined. That's why they're doing it. This has got, it's got nothing much to do now with the original thing in March 2020. It's got nothing to do with that. This is pure control of a population for nefarious. I'm lost the word, but for nefarious reasons. There is an ultimate agenda here, and that is you will go no more than the end of your street. Yeah, your shopping will get delivered. You won't go out. You won't go to the pub. You won't go to concerts. You won't go to the cinema. You won't go anywhere. You will stay in your street and you will not move. Why? Because we're taking away your cars and your petrol and your diesel. So you'll have a crappy little electric car that'll do 50 miles, and then you're going to spend 12 hours waiting for it to charge up.
Yep.
It's all part of Agenda 21. And I know people on this stream will know what I'm talking about when I talk about the UN Agenda 21. Well, of course, all part of the bigger plan. This was the seed in March 2020 to start the snowball going.
Well, the thing is that, people talk about, when you talk about the World Economic Forum and these other things like Agenda 21, some people will sort of go, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Let me tell you, folks, when the facts directly correlate to the conspiracy theories, they're no longer conspiracy theories. Everything that we've been talking about for a long time, Jed, it just every day brings it more and more true. And there was another thing that absolutely disgusted me today, and I wonder what the stream and what you think about it. And that is, the government is coming to vaccinate children. They really want to vaccinate children. Now, today, they've sort of said, well, we will not be wanting to vaccinate all children. Oh, no, just those most at risk. And what this reminded me about is, if you recall last in January or so, or just December, when the first vaccines came out, they said that we're only going to vaccinate, look, we're going to vaccinate the most vulnerable. That's the elderly, the people with comorbidities. We're going to vaccinate them, and then everything's going to be super duper safe. But that's not how it worked, did it? 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds. They came after every, Jed, every age group, and they are absolutely intent on coming, I believe, after our children, which horrifies me. What do you think?
All part of the plan, David. All part of the plan. But I tell you now, I will tell you now, there will be parents in this country who've been double vaccinated who think it's the bee's knees.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was fine. I didn't get any of these funny diseases or collapse and die like we're seeing more and more and more. They're not going to have that. But I tell you what, when they vaccinate their 12-year-old and it croaks over dead on the table, they'll think twice, but then it will be too late.
Well, the
reason we're not giving it to kids is because the risk of the vaccine is more than the virus. I'm trying to be careful what I say, David, but I am absolutely livid.
Yeah, well, we have to be, and folks, this is the thing this is why I need you to support us on my other platforms as well. There's only so much we can say here because this is YouTube, but it's a nice platform in other ways, but we just can't tackle some of the other things. But if you want to hear those things, if you subscribe to my other channels, and most particularly my podcast, I can speak directly to you on the things that must not be spoken here. But look, in the States, and I know we've got American viewers watching this, we've seen the evidence. It's there. It's indisputable with young people, some very young people, and we've seen what's happened to those lost young lives. And I want my grandchildren to be able to have happy lives. And I have a real issue with the fact that our government, it's not just that they want to take away our freedoms, but they are clearly after our kids. And put on this comment here. I wanted to put this, if I can bring it up here. Here we go. Francis says, they said a year ago that children would not get COVID. They did, absolutely. But then, Francis, they've said lots of things. And you see, this is the problem. And this is what we need to talk about as well. I believe, Jed, that we are continually in a state of planned chaos and confusion, I believe. And so it's always about, they basically say to you, on the one hand, everything is blue, and then the other hand, they'll turn around and say everything is red. It's constant confusion. Classic technique of techno-communists. And at the heart of this, I do believe this is about a form of techno-communism / globalism. That's just how it is.
Back in the 1930s, 1940s, David, a particular dictator went after the kids, then got the kids, and bear in mind, we've had this recently in the recent months, got the kids to grass up their parents.
Yeah.
We will have the same. Kids will be going to school and there will be force for I can't say the word, but they will be forced to have it.
Yeah.
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 And then it will be, have your parents had it? Oh no, my mum and daddy hasn't had it. Really? And then the next thing will be the knock on the door.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're
Which
so
is
right.
exactly what happened in 1940s Germany.
Yeah, but
they got the kids to grasp the parents.
Yeah, but so much of this, where we're going at the moment, Jed, it just seems to me that you mentioned what happened in the 30s, the mid to late 30s, and then into the 40s. It seems we are going into that domain because we're having now an apartheid, medical apartheid in the UK. There's no other way of putting it, where someone like myself or you, or I guess someone on the stream who have chosen not to take the you know what, we will not be denied. We will be denied access to well, I don't go to nightclubs, but to sporting events, to music concerts, to anything where where people gather. To me, that's inhuman. And yet that's exactly what this government's proud of it.
But you see, the venues, the musics, the concerts, the sporting events, that is the beginning. Then it will be the supermarket. Then it will be the club stores.
Yeah, well,
yeah, and it will cascade down to your local corner shop. You can't go to your local corner shop because by then we'll have swipe cards and you have to swipe your pass to get in. You will not be able to get in without swiping a smart card.
All you have to do is look across the channel, look to France, look to little tin pot Emperor Macron, and he has made it clear, and that's why we're seeing an uprising in France as well, that he will deny people access to supermarkets. So actually, just think about that for a moment, folks.
That's starving his nation.
Yeah, I know, but they don't care. They do not care.
Because the goal has been for the past 20 years to get us fully controlled, full communism, full Agenda 21. You will never leave your street. You'll never leave your house. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely right. It is about absolute control over our lives. And one of the things that annoys me most, folks, is none of this would have been possible if the media had not been so compliant. If the media had not allowed themselves, Jed, to be bought by the government's advertising revenues. If the media had shown any kind of pushback, but the only pushback the media has shown is, well, should you not have knocked us down a bit earlier, Boris? Should you not have locked us down harder for longer? This is the media. So as well in this, the media, Jed, we have to accept that the mainstream media is every bit as much of a cancer on this country as the Johnson regime.
You're right, David. I'm watching a series at the moment on Netflix called something, How to Be a Dictator, How to Become a Dictator. And so obviously it's got Mugabe there, it's got Saddam there, it's got Libya. It's got them all. It's got them all. And it goes through the steps you have to take to then become that dictator. And one of them is control of the media. The media have been bought off for years now. And it's been that gradual grind of the media to get them to do their bidding. And now you could say, well, it's advertising revenue. That's part of it. The other one is the infestation of leftism in universities. Where do the media get their people from? Universities. So it's been that grind. And as that Russian defector said that back in the 80s, they exactly what he said is exactly what is happening now.
Yep.
Every single step he says to bring down a nation, to bring down the people is absolutely happening now, word for word.
And actually, as Claire points out here, it's a fair point Claire makes, just look at the media during Brexit as well. Here in the UK, the British media relentlessly, almost to the man, opposed the notion of us leaving the European Union. So we knew they were bent then and corrupted. We knew that. But I have to say, Claire, that, leaving the European Union, which of course I was in favour of, I guess pretty much everybody on the stream is, but that's one thing. But what we're talking about now is something, it's so much more. It's so much worse.
It's the next step, David. It's the next step. They got a kick in the balls. Sorry, but the kick in the balls with Brexit. They never thought it was going to happen. They thought they had it in the bag. So when this came along, the media, the politicians, the left wing went full steam. They bought the media, hook, line and sinker, because they could not fail a second time. And this is the second stab at that control factor.
And actually, Darren Stimson makes the point, Jed, which is a fair enough one. I think it's Brexit payback time. And that is,
that's what I've just said. They couldn't afford to lose a second time.
Yeah. So the media are as complicit, and then it's. I mean, you talk about the left wing politicians, but I know it's a plague in all of them for me, because this is a theoretically conservative government. It's not. It's a fascist government as far as I'm concerned now. But and then I heard Sir Keir Starmer come out today or this morning. They were bleating, Jed, about the fact that Boris is this is too risky, opening things up. Well, I'm sure they're happy by the end of the day. Now they know that the COVID ID passes are absolutely planned for the autumn. Now that they know that they will come for our children. Now that they know that they will take away freedoms of people like you, me, and the people on this stream. Oh, I'm sure Labour will be happy with that.
So let's look at this to medium to long term. So let's say, let's take a percentage. 70% of the population are double stabbed. Yeah. That leaves 30%. So then the pressure is on that 30% to get double stabbed. So let's go. You've lost everything. You cannot do a single thing because you have not been double stabbed. So let's say 100% double stabbed. What then? What next? Because if everybody's got the pass, then what next? What is the purpose of double stabbing? What is the ultimate goal? Because if we can control you because you haven't had the double stab, because you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you won't be able to get, the next thing is you won't be able to get a job. Oh yeah, if you're an healthcare worker, you're out of a job, sorry. But you won't be able to get a job. So let's say you go, oh, well, I've got to do it. Yeah. So that's 100% of the population. What next? Well, because then there are no restrictions in theory, are there? Because everybody's got it. Everybody's done what you've asked them to do. So where do they go next? And that is a bigger worry. Because the bigger worry is that, well, you still can't fly because we won't let you fly because we've brought in some new rules. And we're now going to tell you that the test you've been captivated by for 2 years, 3 years, are actually no good. You now need a third one. That's it. You need 2 a year now. Every 6 months, you've got to have another one. Yeah, that's what it will be. Yeah. And it'll be a ramp. Oh, you've not had your third or your fourth or your fifth or your sixth. And it'll all clock up on an electronic card.
Well, I wonder, Jed, can we bring up, I think we've got a slide waiting, I see in the deck, with from our wonderful vaccines. Get this, folks, from the Daily Skeptic. Unvaccinated Brits to be barred from large venues later this year following government U-turn. So, I saw that. The other thing I did see was, Jed, I don't think I shared the slide with you, but I saw folks, I think the government released this, so I think we can talk about it with some legitimacy, that I think the latest medical data is that 60% of those with testing positive for COVID have been vaccinated. Yeah. I just have to leave it hanging there, folks, because I can't say anything more about it in this channel or I'll get another ban. But
But I will tell the people on the stream, if you go to David's brand new tube, there is a version of pretty much what David has just said for the USA. And you'll be absolutely amazed at the numbers that we're talking about of what David's just insinuated there. That's on David's brand new YouTube channel. I think it's been out maybe a day or so now. And look at the American figures.
Actually, Jed, here's a really good point that, Dottie makes. Dottie says, go on Telegram and look at the UK Nurses Alliance. A lot of them are not sucked in by this. Absolutely right, Dottie. I am aware of, and the government know this as well, Dottie. Here's another thing to talk about. Jed, you mentioned the care homes. So the government are coming after the people who work in the care homes. Although it's not just them, because it's for example, the plumbers and the electricians who go into the care homes. It's the caterers who provide the food to the care homes. So they're going after, but that's the trial run. Force them to take the you-know-what in September, and then Dottie and Jed, they will then come for the NHS workers. I'm aware of stuff being circulated internally in the NHS, and it's really, really clear that they would like to force everyone in the NHS to do that. But one of the reasons that they are holding back is, apart from the legal aspects and the fact that there's some very strong trade unions in the NHS, is the fact that, there's a substantial resistance within the NHS of medically qualified people. These people know what they're talking about, doctors, nurses, consultants, and they don't want to take the you-know-what. So what message does that send you?
Well, you're right, David, but those people with those voices will never get airtime to put their side. We're only ever getting one side of it because, like we've said, the media is bought, the politicians are bought by Sage. Everybody is in on this because this is the last ditch. It's the OK Corral. It's the last chance saloon. This is the last chance to have, because what they wanted was Brexit to fail and us to stay in the European Union. We've become a federal state. We've become a region of the European Union where every single aspect of our life will be controlled by regulation and diktat from Brussels. They failed there. They failed because the British public went, stick it.
Yeah, but Jed,
I'm hoping, David, that this just might be the straw that brought the camel's back, and enough Conservative MPs will go for a leadership challenge, a vote of no confidence in Ben Johnson. Well, I'm just hoping, because if they do, then we might get somebody else in, or there might be a general election, and then if somebody like Farage or somebody like that came out with the opposite of what we've just had nearly 2 years of, then who knows?
Yeah, I mean, one of the disturbing things is that so many British people have been compliant little sheep, and they've gone along with this from day one. And I know a lot of them, I have to be honest, a lot of them were scared. Elderly people were scared by the government's propaganda. I get that, and I respect the fact that, we must be cognizant of that, Jed, that the elderly were scared. But there's no excuse for a 30 or 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old having been taken in by this at all, unless they consume the media. And I suppose ultimately that's the problem. By the way, I don't share your confidence in the Conservative Party. I don't think it will throw up a decent leader. I think this party has been getting worse since 1990. I think something happened in 1990, and it's been downhill all the way since. But and I'm not even sure we can turn to politicians. I think we have to turn to ourselves. I saw someone saying that we're some of us are despondent about this. No, Matrix, I'm not despondent in this in any way. I am enraged. You can have righteous anger, that's a good thing, righteous anger. And I do believe in peaceful protest, but it can also be forceful, peaceful protest. And I've seen what the French are doing, Jed. And the French inspire me because they basically take no crap from their government. That's why the take-up rate of the you-know-what is about 40% in France. The French don't do as they were told. But what's happened to the British public, Jed? How have we got to the point where so many, I don't know what the percentage is, 80?
Because we've been complacent with the freedom that's been hard won, David. That's what we have. You see, because if you really think about it, we've not had a world war. We've not had anything, like the 1940s. But even then, if you think that we went to war on average every 10 years since 1940.
Yeah.
And so people have forgot about the Falklands. That's too far away. They pretty much forgot about the first Gulf War. And again, that was thousands of miles away. So that didn't really care. The second Gulf War, that Afghan, well, that's becoming a distant memory as well. So people haven't had to suffer. They haven't had to do without, so to speak.
Yeah.
They've had a really comfortable life. And when you're that comfortable in life, and I'm not saying everything comes easy to everybody, but when you've had a comfortable life with no real world pressures on you, then you become complacent with your freedom.
I think Anthony makes the makes a fair point that people are unfortunately distracted by so many stuff. But Jason makes a good point. The UK is a fantastic country, but it's been demoralised, and I agree with that.
But it does. But that's part of the plan. That's why they spent 40 years. The march through the institutions of left-wing propaganda. Now you can't say a man's a man and a woman's a woman. You could go to jail for stating biological facts.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, we are on the way to hell at some degree of acceleration, and it's all being presided over by Johnson and his clique, by the sage communist tyranny that sits behind in the background. And we have some of these guys like Jonathan Van Tam, one of the Prime Minister's key advisors. I mean, I've seen some of his comments. I think he was at the press conference, Jed, and it's appalling stuff. I mean, he was saying, well, if you're in a meadow and you're on your own, well, and you make sure there's nobody around you, you're probably safe. Seriously. I can't tell you what I think about someone like that on this channel. I just can't tell you. Jason, I do understand. Jason O'Brien says Ireland is even worse, if that cheers you up. Jason, it doesn't cheer me up at all. I love my Irish friends. I love Ireland. But I'm so aware of what's happening to those like us on this stream who are going against the narrative there and their persecution and all the stuff that's going on there, Jason. I'm very acutely aware of that. I think it's horrific. I think it's absolutely.
So, I'm going to ask you a question, there, because you normally ask me. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
So let's say 78 to 80% of the UK population get the double stab.
Yeah.
Do you think that in years to come, the 20 or 30% that have not been double stabbed will be rounded up and moved somewhere?
Well, to learn what's going to happen in the future, the best thing you can do, look at the past. That past is always the best indicator of the future. And when we look at the past, and you've mentioned some historical references there, Jed, you just have to see that is what awaits us. And by the way, not just us in the UK, us in France, us in Canada, us in Australia, us in New Zealand, us everywhere. Us in some of the American states, actually, for that matter. I believe that we're being shuffled along a conveyor belt, and at the end of that conveyor belt is not going to be very high. It's not going to be a very nice thing. And that's why I believe it's important that we stand up, we speak out, Jed, we resist. We will not go quietly into the night. They won't shuffle us off in trains. They won't shuffle us off in buses to destination camps unknown. That's not going to happen, or at least I don't want it to happen. But I hope. But
I think it's a possibility there, though.
Oh, absolutely.
The way it's going, it is a possibility.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want people to be watching this and committing mass suicide, But having said that, there is clearly an intent, Jed, and the intent. You've summed it up very well tonight. We know what their intent is, folks. We can't say it directly because it's YouTube, but we know what their intent is. We know what their game is. We know that the media is their ally in this one here. the media is there. I see some comments, by the way. One particular individual. Listen, if certain individuals, if you don't like what we're saying, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But don't try and monopolize the chat stream, or that will be dealt with. You can say what you want, but not to the point of just disagreeing with every bloody thing that is said here. Or if you want to disagree with me, by the way, well, again, fine. Why come here? You can sit in your, at home and in your mind disagree with everything. But back to the point, I do think that, Jed, what you're saying is a definite probability, and it scares me. I'm literally, for the first time in my life, and I lived through, here in where I live in Northern Ireland, some pretty horrible times. This is worse because this is like everything. And as you said, previous generations, Jed, they fought and died for their freedom. This generation, by and large, is watching Love Island for their freedom, sitting at home at furlough for their freedom. That's this generation.
No, that's right. So I think the next step then, let's just progress it. I know we're over time already, but let's progress it. So you will need a pass to get into any venues with large people, nightclubs, sporting events. Yeah. So when it starts to come down that healthcare workers have to have it, and then let's say shopkeepers, major supermarket chains have got to have it. Yeah, all the teachers have got to have it because they're in contact with kids all the time. So the next logical step of that is, well, who's not had it? We need to be able to clearly identify who's not had it. And again, let's go back to history. So you'll have your gold star on your chest, or you'll have your tattooed serial number on your forearm. Yeah. To say you've not had it or you've had it. And we've seen videos of people getting tattoos of I got my jab on such and such a date. Yeah, like absolute lunatics. Absolute lunatics.
But you see, Jed, it's been turned into a cult, unfortunately. It's an absolute cult. And today, now again, this is to my English viewers who are watching this one here, folks, watching this. Today was so-called Freedom Day, although it's anything but that means that you can wander around the supermarket and you don't have to wear your face muzzled anymore. I've had lots of feedback in social media telling me that people have been into their local Tesco or Asda or Morrison's, wherever it is, and there's lots of people still Jed, walking around with masks because they're in the cult. They don't want to leave the cult. Taking your mask off, now we never put ours on to start with, but taking the mask off means you're leaving the cult. And I think that's why Boris, for example, is still saying, well, we would recommend you continue to wear masks in certain settings. It means that you want, Jed, you're wanting to sort of say, you're saying a couple of times there that, they need to find a way to distinguish between those who have conformed and taken the what and those who haven't. Well, the mask is a bloody well good way to do that, isn't it? If you've conformed to that, there's a fairly good chance you've conformed to everything else.
David, I've been out once today when I finished work. I took the dog out around the park, and the very first person within 50 meters of my front door was a young guy, probably early 20s at best, with a muzzle on. And then I walked around the park and I didn't see anybody. Most of it was kids, of course, and a couple of parents in the play area. But nobody there had. But the very first person I saw as I went outside my door was somebody with a big fat cloth mask, nappy over their face. But they will have to be able to identify those that haven't. And that is the first stage of, well, we now need to move you because you can't be in the community with all the other people. So what we'll do is we'll designate certain areas of certain towns and certain villages and certain cities where we'll move you into. Let's call them ghettos. And then what we'll do is we'll build a wall around them.
Yeah.
And then once we've done that, actually, we don't really want you at all because we've told everybody else you're going to kill everybody. So what we'll then do is we'll load you onto a train and we'll take you somewhere far away.
Yeah, but
and then you'll disappear.
Yeah, but that would never happen, would it? I mean, that's never happened.
It's never happened in history.
Never happened.
People haven't disappeared in Russia.
No,
they didn't disappear in Europe during the 1930s and 40s. No, he wouldn't. No, Dave, I'm talking utter rubbish.
You are absolute nonsense. Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah.
No.
Conspiracy theorist.
And also, conspiracy theorist, yeah, and not only that, but I mean, the thing is that, of course, folks, and this is a serious note, this is so obvious, it's so apparent. And so, listen, which, as Jed has pointed out, we've gone massively over our time. I only intended to do this for a short period of 30 minutes or so, but the chat's been good. I really appreciate, folks, all of you who have come along to this tonight. The numbers are huge, so that's fantastic. I think, as I said at the beginning, Jed, it's good to have a sense of righteous anger against things that are just morally and ethically and politically and societally wrong. And everything I've heard today is wrong. And so I think we have to, Jed, put our marker down and hope that people listen to it. And I do appreciate some comments, folks. You don't all have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me at all if you don't want it, but I just want to be able to have my say, and whilst I'm still allowed to have it, and that might not last forever on this channel, but Jed says you can get me on my podcast every day. Just down below, you see it going across the screen. You can get me there. And you can find me on the other platforms. So we'll continue to speak out, Jed, and we won't be silenced, will we?
No, that's right. And I wouldn't. It would be wrong of me as you refer to me as your producer to say, look, guys, you have to follow. And I know we constantly say to you, please follow here, please follow there. But the days are very much numbered. This is the second time, unfortunately, we've been barred from YouTube for a period of time. Yeah. So anytime you do not see any content on YouTube, you'll find it, first of all, on podcasts daily, up to 4, maybe 5 podcasts a day. You'll find videos on brand YouTube, on Odyssey. You'll find it on Gab TV. On Rumble. All you have to do is search for David's name. That is where we will be when we are no longer here on this platform.
Yeah, I think, Jed, that's just being realistic about it as well. I think this September we'll see a further purge here on the YouTubes. So that's okay. As I say, if folks are sensible in this stream and you enjoy all this, then please sign up to the other platform. It's not that I'm a massive egotist. I'm just trying to be realistic about where I can talk about what we've not really been able to talk about in some depth tonight, which is the thing that got me a 2-week ban here on Twitter because I
Could I also mention, David, sorry to jump in. David also, apart from Alt News Media, David does also have a very long-standing website, which is called atangledweb.org. It's going across the bottom of the screen now. And on there, you'll find articles. You'll find also David's podcast. You'll find additional videos from brand YouTube over there. There's a great blog that you can join in. There's opinion articles. There's much more. Get over there, guys. Yeah, we do ask you to sign up to be able to contribute. But everybody's treated equal over there. Whether you're a first timer, if you've got something to say, you can write a blog, you can write an opinion piece, and we will post it, or you will post it, and it will be there for other people to read. Get over there, atangledweb.org, and join in the fun, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Simon's Reality. I have been on Richie Allen's show. Richie Allen, great guy. I know Richie well, and I think we try to support each other. And by the way, A Tangled Web, I started that 21 years ago when I was a teenager. And I started A Tangled Web.
You were never a teenager, David.
I really was. And that, of course, comes from the Sir Walter Scott's great line, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive." And the level of deceptions that are emanating from Downing Street, from the media, from everywhere at the moment are enormous. But together, folks, we will stand strong against them. And we do that by standing together. So look, thank you all for the favorable comments. Even I accept the brickbats thrown my way as well. Thank you, Jed, for being here tonight. And I think on that note, we will get off the airwaves and give everyone a chance to calm down and have a peaceful night ahead, if you can sleep with all this heat going on. Anyway, that's it from me, everybody. I'll be back later on in the week and look forward to talking to you then. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.